It was late at night. Yesu still did not fall asleep. His mood was very bad, his face was just like the darkness at the moment, gloomy to the extreme. 2 hours ago, his mood was different. As a Red Devils for 20 years, he is looking forward to another happy night. Because on this night, the Red Devils at home will usher in a good opponent, White Lily Tottenham Hotspur. The first round of Manchester United this season has been postponed due to the Champions League last season. At present, the Red Devils, who have missed one round, are only ranked 14th in the Premier League standings with 1 win and 1 loss. This is a ranking that no Red Devils fan can accept. Even if the season has just begun, this should not be where Manchester United is. Therefore, this fourth round is a must-win game, not to mention that this game is still played at Old Trafford. In the hearts of Red Devils fans like Yesu, Tottenham is indeed a very popular opponent, because it is the Red Devils fans in the eyes of the boy to give points. Balo Lane is also a three-way alley for many years. Although Tottenham's record against Manchester United has improved in recent years, compared to rivals like Manchester City, the Reds Liverpool and the Blues Chelsea, Tottenham are undoubtedly the opponents Manchester United fans are more willing to face. Especially when Manchester United got a penalty just 30 seconds from the start of the game, and the new team soul Bruno Fernandes hit a penalty kick to break the deadlock, which made Yesu very happy. At that moment, it was not just Yesu who was happy. A Red Devils fan group he joined was also full of laughter, and the atmosphere was ignited as soon as the game opened. However, Tottenham, led by Magic Bird, is obviously unwilling to let Manchester United fans spend a faster night. He left the Dream Theatre in embarrassment and decided to add blockage to the Red Devils fans. Less than 2 minutes after Manchester United took the lead, Tottenham quickly equalised the score. At that moment, Yesu's smile stagnated, and he had some ominous premonitions. This premonition soon became a reality, and the rest of the game became a nightmare for the Red Devils fans. In the 7th minute, Manchester United conceded another goal. The Korean Son Heung-min surpassed Manchester United's two big glass players Bailey and Fat Shaw, who succeeded in a single shot before the penalty zone. Tottenham reversed the score. At that moment, Yesu was silent. He also imagined that if there were fans at Old Trafford, it would be silent and silent. Yesu thought this would be the end of Manchester United's downturn in this game, and the tenacious Red Devils would regroup and reverse the situation. And the subsequent stalemate in the situation strengthened Yesu's thoughts. But he did not expect that Manchester United's downturn was just beginning. And the stalemate during this period is just the last struggle before falling into the abyss. The scene on the court in the 28th minute became the real turning point of the game. Manchester United's cold face was elbowed by the number 11 Argentine in the opponent's line in the corner kick defense. The French did not choose to fall to the ground or protest to the referee. Instead, he touched the Argentine back with a dark face. Maybe he thought this meant his friendliness. However, the Argentine obviously did not have a good idea with the French brother. He immediately felt like he was hit by a heavy hammer, covering his mouth in pain, and collapsed to the ground. Then, the Frenchman received a ruby card without any accident. At that moment, Yesu, who has always been gentle, couldn't control his emotions and exploded. Not to mention the guys in the Red Devils fan group who have always been exporting dirty, SB, NC, ZZ, SD. All kinds of words are instantly screened in the group dialogue window. Manchester United fans are not only incomprehensible to Martial's move, but also panic about the terrible situation that Manchester United might face in the next game. Everyone's worries are obviously not just groundless worries. Manchester United, which is less than one player, quickly staged a show of defeat to the world. In the 30th minute, Bailey's pass in the penalty area was tackled by Kane, and Son Heung-min made a pass from the left of the penalty area. Kane pushed into the net from 12 yards, 3:1. In the 37th minute, Endemil scored the ball on the right, Olyer made a cross and deflected between Maguire's legs, Son Heung-min shot from the right side of the penalty area, and the ball passed through De Gee's legs into the net, 4-1. At the end of the first half, Solskjaer's Manchester United once again set a historical record. In Manchester United's history of 1,079 Premier League games, it lost 4 goals in the first half for the first time. In the second half, Manchester United's rout continued. In the 51st minute, Højbjerg made a straight pass, and Oljer broke into the far corner 12 yards on the right side of the penalty area, 5-1. In the 79th minute, Ben Davies was tripped by Pogba after a pass back in the penalty area. Kane scored a penalty, 6-1. When the whistle sounded at the end of the game and the Manchester United players walked down the pitch dejectedly, the fans were still passionate. Some people are annoyed that these Manchester United players are not worthy of the red jersey. Some people say that Lamela must have learned the football culture of La Masia from the Cole Ball King when he was in the national team. Some people are saying badly that they will never watch Manchester United games in the future. Now, some people are weakly asking where is the saviour of Manchester United. Yesua did not vent his anger in the group, and he was at a loss with a cold heart. Where is the saviour of Manchester United? 7 years ago, when the red-nosed old man retired and left Old Trafford, Manchester United, who had been in the world football for more than 20 years, fell into a quagmire, constantly struggling, and constantly rebuilding. In the long 7 years, Manchester United generally replaced the coach. Moyes proved his incompetence. Giggs, who only coached Manchester United for 4 games, did not leave any impression. Chef Fan proved that his culinary skills could not keep up with the times in 2 years. Although the Magic Bird brought Manchester United the Europa League Championship, his magic seems to have disappeared at Old Trafford. In the end, he was embarrassed by the internal and external difficulties and left the Dream Theatre, and continued the spell of Mew 3 years. Solskjaer, who was ordered in danger, once again proved with his actions that he was only a super substitute, but it was difficult for him to be the leader. As the interim coach, he led Manchester United with amazing performances around the world, but when he became the official coach of the Red Devils, his performance fell short. 7 years ago, Manchester United fans had realised that Manchester United might usher in a trough. 7 years later, Manchester United fans still did not see the future and hope, and they did not know that their favourite team would struggle to that point in this quagmire. One day. Who is the real son of Manchester United? Where is the real saviour of the Red Devils? Where is the real saviour of the Red Devils? This is also the question in the minds of Yesu, a Red Devils fan for 20 years. The night is getting deeper and deeper, and the deep tiredness also invades Yesu's mind. A colourful stream of light crossed the sky, penetrated into the room from the window, and hit Yesu directly, and then Yesu disappeared in the room. I don't know how long it took. Yesu woke up from a deep sleep. The moment he opened his eyes, he didn't feel anything, but soon he realized something was wrong. This is not his room. Yesu was so impressed by the house where he lived for many years. The room greeted at the moment is obviously much more luxurious than the room in memory. What happened? Where am I? Are you dreaming? But the next moment, Yesu made sure that he was not dreaming, because when he punched the wall on the head of the bed, a heart-wrenching pain spread into his body. Just as Yesu blew into his right hand and kneaded his right hand with his left hand, a voice sounded in his mind, "The Savior system has been activated and is binding to the host, please wait." Yesu was taken aback. The Savior system? This is a horse ghost? The system is successfully bound, please confirm the host's personal information. Before Yesu could react, he felt an interface appeared in his mind. Name, Yesu, yes/no nationality, Chinese, yes/no nationality, Han nationality, yes/no age, 29 years old, yes/no sex, male, yes/no. Yesu is a bit dazed. Isn't this information fixed? Can it be changed? While thinking this way, Yu read www.yuyuganshu.com while using his consciousness to tick the box behind yes. However, when he ticked the height column, Yeso had a clever move and ticked the box behind no. Then, something that surprised Yeso happened. He heard the prompt again, system error. System error. Please confirm your real height. Let me take it. Yeso was stunned, and then filled in a string of characters in the brackets that reappeared behind the height bar, 185 centimeters. The next moment, Yeso felt that his whole body was squirming, and he felt that his body was being stretched. That's okay. Yeso didn't know what to say anymore. He was on a temporary basis, but he didn't expect. The height of the host has been confirmed, please continue to confirm the follow-up information. The system prompt sounded again. In the weight column, Yeso didn't bother to think about it anymore and confirmed the weight of 71 kilograms. The host's personal information is verified, please choose your own identity. Manchester United player, Manchester United assistant coach, Manchester United interim head coach lying on the grass. Yeso was shocked again. What is the situation with this savior system? Could it be that my thoughts before falling asleep resonated with God, that I should send myself to save my team? Why not let yourself replace the Glazers and become the owner of Manchester United? The host's request is illegal and cannot be passed. The host can only choose from the options given. I'm going. Yeso spit out, and then ticked the box behind the third option. Welcome to use the savior system. The host's personal identity has been determined. Please immediately send a personal assistant to the Manchester United club to discuss related matters. Send a personal assistant to Manchester United to negotiate. Yeso was stunned again, thinking that this savior system is not teasing me. Where does my personal assistant come from? Just as Yeso was spitting out, he heard a sound of high heels hitting the ground, and then he saw a figure appear at the door. That is a typical Western woman, with blonde hair curled up on her head, revealing a jade-like swan neck. The dark green eyes looked in at a glance and thought it was a clear lake, but when they looked inside, they found an unfathomable deep pool that could easily draw people's soul into it. The slightly cold face is very delicate, although it is just a little bit of pink, it naturally has a fresh and refined temperament. She is wearing a pure white silk professional suit, ultra-thin and transparent flesh-colored stockings and nearly 3-inch thin-rooted high heels, making her round and slender legs even more attractive. At that moment, Yeso, who was a single dog, was a little dazed. Am I dreaming again? Or is it because thinking about beautiful women in your head leads to hallucinations? Some Yeso who couldn't believe his eyes reached out and rubbed his eyes subconsciously, but the woman in front of him did not disappear. Instead, she smiled at the corner of her mouth and said, Mr. Yet, I am your personal assistant. Sabella, waiting for your orders. Is this blonde beauty his personal assistant? When did I have a personal assistant? Could it be? Half an hour later, she was as glamorous as an angel who had fallen into the world. Isabella, the blonde beauty who claimed to be Yeso's personal assistant, left the room and went to Manchester United club to give Yeso his identity as the club's interim head coach. At this time, Yeso has already learned something. He is no longer in the country, but has come to Manchester. And the current time is not 2020 in his memory, but April 21, 2014. He lives in the Lorry Hotel where Manchester United stayed before the home game. And his beautiful blonde assistant is not actually a human being, but a high simulation intelligent robot created by the Savior system. After choosing Manchester United's interim head coach as his identity, Yeso didn't really believe that this Savior system could really handle such things. However, when he was prompted by the system to log on to UEFA's official website and inquired about his personal information, he was surprised to find that he had the highest level of UEFA's pro level, that is, the professional level coaching qualification certificate. At that moment, Yeso really served the Savior system, and no longer worried about whether it could handle the Manchester United interim coach. Sure enough, after only 3 hours, Isabella returned to the Lorry Hotel again, informed Yeso that the contract had been finalized, and then took him to Old Trafford and signed a contract with Manchester United CEO Santo Co, a 3-week contract. Even though he had prepared in his heart, Jesus still felt like he had in his dream at that moment. He is very aware of the weight of such a position, even if it is just a 3-week contract. Of course, although these have caused some confusion to Jesus, he has not been too entangled, because there are more headaches waiting for him. Now he is the interim head coach of Manchester United, and he is about to face a group of proud soldiers. This group of honourable players, but senior coaches like Moyes with rich experience in coaching in the Premier League could not handle the thorns, otherwise Moyes, the Scottish fellow who is regarded as the successor of the old man, will not be in old age. Trafford failed to survive even a season and was fired and left in embarrassment. Although Moyes was also scolded by Jesus in another time and space, Jesus knew very well that when it comes to coaching the team, this one has spent more than 10 years in Everton, and he trained Everton into the Premier League second only to one of the strongest teams outside the Big Four. The old guy who has won the Premier League Coach of the Year 3 times, has more than 10 streets away from him. Jesus knows more that the Manchester United players who are about to face are only one aspect. What is more difficult than these players are the pervasive and unrestricted British media, as well as the arrogant and rude British. Jesus did not know nothing about Britain before crossing. As a Manchester United fan for many years, he who has been following Manchester United news very well knows that this fact has been gone for a long time, but the people have not forgotten the country where the sun never sets, the glory of the empire. How arrogant it is! He can imagine how he would react when he succeeded Moyes as Manchester United's head coach, even if the news of a temporary caretaker coach came out. Jesus was right. When he had a headache, how should he face the group of meritorious players he once liked very much and brought him a lot of happy memories? Moyes was fired by Manchester United and he became the Manchester United interim coach. Has been detonated in the UK, and quickly spread to the world. As one of the most famous football clubs in the world, Manchester United's status has surpassed that of a football club. Its every move will arouse the attention of the entire British and even the world, let alone a major event such as the replacement of the coach. After leading Manchester United away to Everton in an away game 2 days ago, and declaring that Manchester United will completely miss the Champions League next season, the whole world knows that Moyes' dismissal is inevitable. The only suspense is when Manchester United will officially announce this news. Now the whole of the United Kingdom and even the world is more concerned about who will take over the coach in Moyes' hands and become Manchester United's next coach, even though Manchester United only has 4 games left this season. Judging from the current public opinion, the Dutch national team coach Van Gaal and the Bundesliga giants Dortmund coach Klopp are 2 popular candidates for the Red Devils coach. Of course, the club legend Giggs, who was born in the Red Devils and is currently a player and an assistant coach, also has a high voice. Because the season is not over yet, many people think that Manchester United will choose to make Giggs the caretaker coach for the remaining games of the season, and wait until the end of the season to decide whether to hire Van Gaal or Klopp to coach. After all, at this time, neither Van Gaal nor Klopp can put down their work and clean up Manchester United's mess. But when Manchester United announced the dismissal of Moyes on the morning of April 22, people realised that their guesses were wrong. Manchester United neither immediately invited Van Gaal and Klopp, nor did Giggs become the interim coach, but instead let an unknown person become the coach. What is even more unbelievable is that the head coach is still an Oriental. Countless British people can't help but wonder, Chinese also understand football? Also know how to coach a team? Of course, more Manchester United fans are thinking, what are the Glazers and Santo Co doing? Is this going to break the jar? And in the British media, there are all kinds of extreme reports that are not optimistic about Jesus, and even unfriendly. Jesus did not pay attention to what the British media said. He was thinking about the first meeting with Manchester United players tomorrow, thinking about the first training session, thinking about the first game after taking over. According to the contract signed with Manchester United, the remaining 4 games of this season can be regarded as Yessu's internship period. He must lead Manchester United to qualify for the Europa League next season in order to get rid of the current temporary head coach status and become the official head of Manchester United. Coach. Otherwise, after the end of these 4 games, his contract with Manchester United will end. At present, the Premier League has ended the 35th round of the game. Manchester United has one less round, ranking 7th in the Premier League with 57 points. In front of them are Tottenham with 63 points, Everton with 69 points, Arsenal with 70 points, Chelsea with 75 points, Manchester City with 77 points, and Liverpool with 80 points. Because they are 13 points behind 4th Arsenal with only 4 rounds left in the game, it is impossible for Manchester United to pursue a Champions League ticket. This is also the direct reason why Moyes dismissed Get Out of Class. Now their only hope is to compete for a Europa League ticket. For Manchester United, who have participated in the Champions League for 18 consecutive seasons, they have always dismissed the Europa League. But this season's Manchester United, it seems to be competing for a Europa League ticket is an extravagant hope. According to the qualifications of the English teams in the European competition, the first 4 Premier League will participate in the Champions League, the 5th Premier League, the FA Cup champion and the League Cup champion will participate in the Europa League. If the FA Cup winner is eligible for the European Championship, the runner-up will replace the UEFA Cup. If the FA Cup runner-up is also eligible for the European War, this place will be extended to 6th or 7th in the Premier League. If the League Cup champion is qualified for the European War, this qualification will not give the League Cup runner-up. Reading www.uugonshu.com is directly postponed to 6th or 7th in the Premier League. This season's League Cup champion has been decided. Manchester City defeated the Black Cat Sunderland. And Manchester City has steadily locked in the European War qualifications, so this Europa League qualification will be won by the 6th in the Premier League. While the FA Cup final has not yet started, Arsenal and Hull City have reached the final. Because Hull City is currently ranked 14th in the Premier League with 36 points, it is impossible to qualify for the European War by virtue of the league rankings. As a result, Manchester United, currently ranked 7th in the Premier League, will definitely not be eligible for the Europa League if they cannot improve their ranking. In other words, if Yessu wants to qualify for the Europa League after the end of the season, he must step on the one between Tottenham and Everton. And Everton is 12 points higher than Manchester United, and the goal difference is 7 more than Manchester United, so Manchester United only has the possibility of suppressing them in theory. The real significance is to step on Tottenham and finally rank 6th in the Premier League. But this is also a matter of luck. Because Manchester United is currently 6 points behind the 6th Tottenham, even if they can win the 34th round of the Premier League, they are also behind Tottenham by 3 points. Fortunately, Manchester United's goal difference is 14 more than Tottenham's, which allows them not to consider the problem of goal difference. But in spite of this, Manchester United still needs to win the remaining 4 games, and at the same time have to count on Tottenham to make a mistake, lose at least one of the next 3 games, or tie at least 2 games. And once Manchester United makes a mistake, draws a game or loses a game, then you need to expect Tottenham to lose 2 or more games. Yessu wants to become Manchester United's head coach. He is truly Hwashin. He can only win all 4 games. Yessu is under a lot of pressure. After all, he has no experience in coaching a team, and there is not much time for him to adapt to all of this. Manchester United's next game will be on Saturday afternoon, less than 4 days from now. But the real time left for Yessu is only 3 days from Wednesday to Friday. Yessu knows very well that in such a short period of time, he cannot make any improvements to Manchester United's tactical play. Of course, as a football coach, Mr. Nanguo cannot make tactical adjustments with his current ability. Fortunately, what Manchester United needs most is not the improvement of the team's strength, nor the adjustment of the tactics by the head coach, but the boost of the players' fighting will. As a champion who won the Premier League title under the leadership of Sir Alex Ferguson last season, although this team has problems in all aspects, its strength is not bad, at least under normal performance, it should not be the current one. Achievement. As long as the players' fighting spirit is aroused, it is not difficult to play well in the next 4 games. Especially these 4 teams are all mid-lower teams in the Premier League, with limited strength, and 3 of them are still at home. Although this season's Old Trafford has only achieved a terrible record of 6 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses under Moyes, it has lost the horror of the Devils' home court, but the cheer of the home team fans still has some effect on improving player morale. Of course, Jesus' greatest confidence is because he has the big killer given to him by the Saviour system. Just after Jesus signed with Manchester United and became the interim head coach of Manchester United, he received a newbie gift package from the Saviour system. This newbie gift pack contains a handbook for football coaches and 12 cards. Football Coach's Handbook contains the knowledge of various football coaches, which can be called an encyclopedia of football coaches. And cards are various props given by the Saviour system to improve the ability and status of the team or the players. It can be divided into training cards and competition cards, or into individual cards and team cards. In the novice spree, these 12 cards are very average. There are 6 training cards and competition cards, while the individual cards and team cards are also 6. To be precise, there are actually only 6 cards, because the training card and the game card are matched. They are the physical fitness card, offside tactical card and corner kick tactical card of the team card, and the free kick, dribbling card and long shot card of the personal card. Physical fitness card can not only check the player's current physical condition, but also reduce the player's physical energy consumption rate by 10%. Even though it is only 10%, for players at the end of the season, this is very impressive. Observing the player's physical condition is very practical, allowing Jesus to better grasp the player's current physical condition and make the choice of employing or substituting. Offside tactical card can improve the team's coordination of defense and increase the success rate of the team's tactical offside. This probability is higher than the physical fitness card, which can be increased by 20%. The corner kick tactical card is for the corner kick that the team gets. It can increase the passing accuracy of the player who takes the corner kick by 10%, while enhancing the success rate of the other players by 10% and the header shooting rate. Although the effect is slightly off the door, the effect should be good. 3 personal cards, all of which can increase the target player's related abilities by 10%. For example, there are many masters in Manchester United in free kicks. If their free kick ability scores are around 80 points, an increase of 10% will likely increase their ability to around 90. This is terrifying and can be called. He has long been a world-class free kick scorer. On the night of the 22nd, Jesus, accompanied by Isabella, visited Giggs. This is currently the oldest player in Manchester United and he is also Jesus' assistant coach for the next few games. He wants to successfully complete the next few games and even achieve good results. Giggs' help is very important. Time is limited, coupled with no personal connections, Jesus can't form his coaching team now, and the Saviour system does not have this arrangement, he can only rely on the current team of the Manchester United club. Furthermore, Jesus is going to invite back several assistants of Ferguson who were swept out by Moyes last summer, mainly Mike Farron and Mullenstein. The current situation of these 2 people is not so good. Mike Farron has been at home since his resignation from Manchester United, and Mullenstein is more tragic than Mike Farron. In the past less than a year, he has been helped by his new owner twice and slammed down. On June 28 last year, after serving as Manchester United's first team coach for 5 years, Mullenstein rejected the youth training director position offered by new coach Moyes and left Manchester United to join NZ Club as an assistant coach. Then less than a month later, he replaced Hiddink as the head coach of NZ. It's a pity that the good times didn't last long, and classes ended after 16 days. On November 13 last year, Mullenstein joined the Premier League Fulham team as the team's head coach, assisting Martin Jol, who was in trouble. On December 1, 2013, after suffering a 5-game losing streak, Martin Jol was fired by the Fulham team, and Mullenstein took over as head coach. Since then, under the leadership of the former Manchester United assistant coach, Fulham has only achieved 4 victories in 17 games. After the team lost to Liverpool 2-3 at home, Fulham is currently at the bottom of the league standings and needs 4 points to break out of the relegation zone. This also led to Mullenstein's dismissal after only 75 days of coaching the team. Was hit twice in just half a year, and Mullenstein has stayed at home since then. With the current situation of these two men, if Manchester United reach out to them again, I think they will not refuse to return to Carrington. Of course, this may not be done in the rest of the season. Yesua is more about preparing for the next season. He didn't have the idea of leaving Manchester United as a coach, especially when it was open. Yesua is not unfamiliar with gigs. He can be regarded as watching this Manchester United legend play football and grow up. He also admires the professionalism of the Welsh star. After all, in the increasingly competitive world of football, he can be about to reach the age of 40, and he can also play in the Premier League, especially in a world like Manchester United. The players who play for the Giants are really rare. Giggs' professionalism is indeed worthy of admiration. Although he was very dissatisfied with the Oriental who suddenly ran out and took away his handsome position, he did not deliberately embarrass Yesua. On the one hand, it is because Yesua has a very humble attitude towards him, a meritorious player of Manchester United, and he takes the initiative to visit him. On the other hand, it is because of his loyalty to this team. Although the team is doomed to fail this season, and even though the season is nearing its end, he still has no idea of breaking the pot and he still hopes that the team can play the next 4 games well. Therefore, for Yesu's question, Giggs can be said to answer all questions. The meeting was very successful this time, and the communication between the two went very smoothly. Yesu completely achieved his purpose of coming to visit. When Yesu left, Giggs sent him out. Looking at this coach who is 11 years younger than him and even younger than many of the current Manchester United players, Giggs' mood is very mixed. Originally, for the club, he would rather choose an Oriental with unknown origin and no coaching experience than let him coach. Giggs was very dissatisfied and even thought it was a humiliation. So, when he received a call and the new coach was about to visit his home, Giggs had the idea of not accepting him, but his wife's words made him change his mind. And from the conversation just now, he found that the Oriental is not completely ignorant of football, perhaps not talking about coaching experience, but the questions asked are very targeted, focusing on the current key issues of Manchester United. Maybe, he is better than he thought? After leaving Giggs' home, Bell once again visited 2 important Manchester United players, Captain Vidic and against Rooney. And Vidic didn't talk too much. Although the Serbian is the captain of Manchester United, he has made up his mind to leave after the end of the season, so he is no longer in Yesu's long-term plan. Yesu's visit was more out of respect for the meritorious player of Manchester United, as well as his respect for his current status as the captain of Manchester United. However, in Rooney's home, Yesu stayed a lot of time. This is not only the team's second captain, but also the current Manchester United's top card and absolute core. In addition, he is not very old now, and he is only 29 years old in half a year. It can be said that he is a good year, and the future is worth looking forward to. Although in memory, Lu Xiaopeng's state will decline rapidly in the next year or two, but Yesu has no plan to clean him in the summer. Instead, he plans to appoint him as the team captain in the new season according to the original historical development. What's more, with the help of his head coach who turned on Rooney's career, maybe there will be some changes. Rooney was obviously unprepared for the sudden visit of the team's new head coach. He was still immersed in the shock of Moyes' departure. He thought that even if Manchester United missed the top four, Moyes would still coach Manchester United to finish the game this season. After all, there are only 4 games left in the entire season, but he did not expect that it was almost the first time after Manchester United lost to Everton. Moyes was fired in no time. So, when he saw Yesu, Rooney seemed a little at a loss. This is exactly what Yesu wants to achieve. He knows that Rooney still has some feelings for Moyes, the mentor who gave him the chance to make his debut in the Premier League. If he calms down, I am afraid he will rob Moyes' job. People have some opinions. After a heart-to-heart talk, Rooney accepted Yesu and stated that he would go all out in the next game. At 17:20 GMT on April 26, Old Trafford Stadium in Manchester, northwest England. Although there are still 10 minutes before the start of the game, Old Trafford, which can accommodate 76,000 people, is already full of voices. More than 75,000 people filled the huge stadium with full seats. This is very rare this season, especially as Manchester United under Moyes has lost more and more games at home and set a shameful record after another. Fewer fans came to watch the game. Occasionally, large-scale unmanned stands may even be exposed at the scene. But today is different. Although the team is doomed to lose all 4 of them this season, and even the Champions League is definitely missed, fans have come to Old Trafford, including some fans who have been away for a long time. Yesu entered Old Trafford and accidentally became Manchester United's interim head coach. This puzzled countless Manchester United fans, but at the same time it aroused their curiosity. Many people thought of seeing this unfamiliar guy on the spot, and why he became Manchester United's head coach, even if it was temporary. Of course, this is also related to the good weather today. In Manchester, which has been in rainy weather all year round, God unexpectedly smiled today. The blue sky and white clouds, coupled with the extremely suitable temperature of about 20 degrees, gave everyone the desire to get out of the house. Is located in the media area in the central area of the South Stand. Football reporters from all over the world gather here to report on the spot for the first time. Media including Manchester United's official TV station, BBC, and Sky TV, who have the task of broadcasting the game live, are paid better. They have a special commentator box in the South Stand. The lineup of commentators that Sky Sports sent to Old Trafford in this field is very interesting. The host is the well-known old commentator John Mortensen. 2 commentators, one is Manchester United's famous player Neville, and the other is Manchester United's rival team, Carragher, the legend of Liverpool. Because the game has not yet started, the 3 are chatting about some off-site news. "Gary, Jamie, have you heard of what happened in the morning?" Old Mortensen said with a smile. Carragher said, "John, are you talking about the pre-match press conference?" Mortensen nodded and said, "Yes, that's what happened at the pre-match press conference. I think that young man is really interesting. I didn't expect him to deal with the reporters with such an attitude." Carragher shook his head and said, "I don't think so. I think that guy is too rude. This is disrespect for the news media." Neville took over and said, "Jamie, I don't agree with you. Since it is a pre-match press conference, shouldn't everyone pay attention to questions about the next game?" As old rivals in the past, Neville and Carragher as the guest commentators, lifting the bar can be regarded as daily life. No, the 2 immediately got up. And Mortensen, an old man, is also very bad. He fancied from time to time. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room was very lively and made the audience watching the live broadcast very happy. The same scene is also happening in the BBC live broadcast room, but the staff has changed a bit, the host has become Lineker, and the commentators have been replaced by 2 other football stars. But still one supports Manchester United and the other opposes Manchester United. The home team's locker room in the stadium, Yesu had already finished the pre-match mobilization meeting, said everything he had to say, then opened the door and left, leaving the locker room for the players. The substitutes also left the locker room soon afterwards, and the starting players, led by Captain Vidic, came to the player channel to prepare for the game. The coaching staff such as Yesua and Giggs entered the stadium through the player tunnel. There was enthusiastic applause. But Yesu knew that it was not dedicated to him, but to Giggs next to him. There are even dedicated to former assistant coaches Mike Farron and Mullenstein who just returned to the team. Yesua asked the team to help bring back these two former meritorious assistant coaches, and it went well beyond his imagination. The two agreed to the invitation with little hesitation, and then hurried back to the team. Regarding the situation where Giggs was more pushy than himself, Yesua appeared calm, whispered to Giggs a few times, patted Giggs on the shoulder, quickened his pace to follow Mike Farron and Mullenstein, walked to the coach's bench. Giggs hesitated, then walked to the sidelines and signed autographs for some fans in the lower stands. Such a scene has once again aroused heated discussions in the media. The head coach of the team is not as famous as the assistant coach, and this is no one. Yeso came to the coach's bench, found a side position to sit down, and then began to add game cards to the game interface in his mind. Because each game can use 3 team cards and 3 personal cards, Yeso has no choice. 6 cards will definitely be used. The only choice is whoever uses the 3 personal cards. After using all 3 team cards in one go, Yeso began to think about the use of personal cards. In fact, there is nothing to consider for the use of personal cards. For the 2 cards of free kicks and long shots, he just hesitated for a while, and then used Rooney as the team's top card and core. The only thing I think more about is the use of breakthrough cards. Because as far as the Manchester United players who appeared in this game are concerned, there are no masters who are too good at breaking. In the end, Yesua pulled out the general from the dwarf and used this card on Nani. At this time, players from both sides also started to enter the field. There was more enthusiastic applause in the stadium than when Yesua and Giggs entered the field. After all, compared to Yesu, a strange interim head coach, and Giggs, a veteran and team assistant coach who has gradually faded out of the team lineup, Rooney is the core top card of the team, plus Mata and Carrick. Such star players are undoubtedly more popular with fans. The game will start soon. Compared with Manchester United's big face change in the starting lineup, Norwich has almost no change. Compared with the last round of Liverpool's face, Norwich made only one adjustment. Van Wolfswinkel replaced Hooper as the starting starter. Manchester United played at home very proactively and quickly raised the rhythm of the game. The players run aggressively, pass and receive the ball quickly, and the true strength of the team absolutely crushes the opponent Norwich, so from the beginning of the game, the scene fell into the control of Manchester United. Moreover, Manchester United's control of the game is not just about the scenes and statistics. It creates waves of offensives and threats one after another. In the 3rd minute of the game, Manchester United attacked from the backcourt. Goalkeeper De Gea made a long pass to find Valencia on the right. The Ecuadorian header went to the centre. Phil Jones passed Rooney directly, but the little fat man had a back pass. Norwich's defensive players behind the goal were also very tight, unable to turn around and had to choose to pass back. Carrick received a return pass from Rooney, drove the ball forward, and passed the ball to Mata who approached to meet him just after passing the centre line. After Rooney passed the ball back to Carrick, he immediately bypassed the defensive player and went straight to Norwich's penalty area. At the same time, Mata, who received the pass from Carrick, did not hesitate to pass the ball. A rubbing pass took the ball past Norwich's defence and landed in the arc of the penalty area. It was Rooney. On the way forward. However, Rooney's speed and explosiveness are obviously not as good as his peak period, and the Norwich defender also pulled Rooney slightly, which made him fail to get the ball before the attacking Norwich goalkeeper Rudy missed an opportunity. 1 minute later, Manchester United made a comeback. Even in the face of Norwich's front court press, they still passed the ball quickly to the front court through simple and smooth passing and cooperation. Rooney in the arc of the penalty area received Nani's oblique pass and kicked directly to the goal, but it was a pity that the Norwich defender blocked the shot. However, the ball was quickly picked up by Valencia, who was inserted on the right side. The Ecuadorian did not mean not to shoot today. I saw him go forward and after running 2 steps, he hit the goal with a burst shot. Although Valencia's shot was very strong, it was a bit delayed because of the 2 steps forward, and the game had just begun. Norwich's players were still very physically strong and the defence was also in place. Valencia's the burst shot blocked the bottom line, and Manchester United got the first corner kick of the game. Although this wave of offence failed to score, UU reading www.uugonshu.com also won a wave of applause from the home fans. Yesu, who was sitting on the coach's bench and watching the game, also applauded. He is very satisfied. Today's Manchester United has not been trained by Van Gaal's backcourt pass and the Magic Birds' defensive thinking. It is the Manchester United that is like a storm when attacking, rather than the slow pace of the game. Sticky, nicknamed the slow sticky Manchester United by fans. Because Yesu made arrangements before the game, Rooney will take the penalty for all the set pieces in this game, so Rooney quickly ran to the corner flag area and prepared to take a corner kick. For this corner kick, Manchester United chose a tactical match. Rooney did not send the ball to the penalty area, but passed it to Valencia in the ribs, and then quickly ran into the field. Valencia drove the ball to the baseline, waited until Rooney ran past his position, there was no risk of offside, and knocked the ball to Rooney with his heel. The cooperation between the two was completely out of the surprise of Norwich players. Some of them were originally entangled with Manchester United's offensive players in the penalty area. The 2 players at the previous point also went to block Valencia's breakthrough. This led Rooney to receive a pass from Valencia in a relatively relaxed situation. Rooney's threat is very clear to the Norwich players. Seeing him get the ball in the side of the penalty area, the 3 defensive players in the penalty area hurriedly abandoned their original defensive targets and came to block Rooney. However, Rooney did not choose to shoot immediately, but took advantage of the opportunity of the Norwich player who came to block his unstable footing and dribbled the ball to the centre. Through continuous sudden stops and changes, Rooney finally found a chance to get his foot on the top of the arc in the penalty area. The ball crossed an arc and hung into the far corner, hitting the net in Rooney's desperate eyes. 1-0, Manchester United made a fantastic start. Less than 2 goals in 20 minutes, Old Trafford Stadium burst again. The emotions of the fans have been completely mobilized by these 2 goals. They lack such a happy experience in this stadium this season. Mata also looked very excited. Since transferring to Manchester United at the beginning of the year, he has rarely had such a happy moment. Because of Moyes' use of him, he was very injured. The Scottish coach made him appear more on the right, playing right midfielder or right forward, which made Mata very uncomfortable. In early March, after Van Persie bombarded Moyes' hiring strategy, Mata also responded to Van Persie, saying in an interview with reporters, "I like to be active between the midfield and the back line. Now I play on the right, honestly, I don't think I'm a suitable winger. I like to play in the 10th position. I return to the centre and keep the ball in order to play comfortably because I like to take the ball and control the ball." Van Persie and Mata's continuous fire on Moyes is considered an upgrade of Manchester United's internal conflict, and Moyes has lost control of the team. Now that Moyes has left the team, Mata has also got the position he wants and performed well. He is naturally very happy. He ran to the broadcast camera in the Jiaokai district and made a gesture of waving. The meaning is clear: goodbye, Moyes. What is interesting is that at this moment, a helicopter flew up in the sky with the slogan "Thank you Moyes" hanging on it. At this time, the televised footage was directly aimed at the interim Manchester United head coach Yesu on the coaching bench. This delicate-faced young man from the East had a satisfied smile on his face at the moment and was applauding Mata's goal. In fact, the team was able to lead by 2 goals in 18 minutes, which was also beyond Yesu's expectations. Although he knows that as long as there are no accidents in this game, Manchester United will win at home, but the players played so well and set the victory so quickly, he was still a little unexpected. When evaluating this goal, various media also mentioned Jesus, the interim head coach, with the focus on his adjustment to Manchester United's lineup. Moyes' Manchester United performance was poor, and he himself lost control of the locker room, which is why he was fired by Manchester United. In fact, under Moyes' rule, most of the players on this team played very frustrated. Van Persie bombarded Moyes' tactics, Mata also questioned his arrangement, and Rooney, who squeezed Mata's position, actually played very uncomfortably. He hoped that he was playing forwards instead of midfielders. Now, the young Oriental has taken over the coach from Moyes and adjusted Manchester United's lineup. Rooney and Mata have both appeared in their favourite positions and performed very well. This undoubtedly shows that there is indeed a big problem with Moyes' initial employment. Manchester United, which led by 2 goals, the players played happily, confidently, and performed better on the court. In the 25th minute, Rooney actively pressed the front court, grabbed the ball from the Norwich defender near the baseline, and then brought it back. Ashley Young came over and received a pass from Rooney at a position parallel to the penalty zone line. After Rooney passed the ball to Ashley Young, he ran to the middle along a point before the penalty area line, and received a pass from Ashley Young at the corner of the penalty area. Liu Xiaopeng bent the bow and set the arrow again, another long shot, the ball traversed a beautiful arc, passed through the Norwich defensive crowd, and went straight to the back post. Fortunately, Norwich goalkeeper Rudy focused and fell to the ground in front of the goal to save the ball. Rooney has some regrets. His shot felt very good, but he didn't even score a goal. Mata in front of the goal is even more regretful. After Rooney came out, he took the initiative to enter the penalty area and also appeared on the line of the ball. It's a pity that Rooney's shot came a bit suddenly, and he didn't react. Otherwise, if he stabbed a kick on the penalty zone line, or topped his head, then the goal would simply be a replica of his goal a few minutes ago. Mata's regret did not last long before it was made up. In the 28th minute, Manchester United once again played a sharp attack. Rooney, who retreated to the midfield, scored the ball in the middle circle, and Ferdinand sent a through pass to find Mata in the middle. Mata kept the ball straight to the side, looking for Ashley Young on the left. When Ashley Young received the ball, left-back Evra also actively moved forward. Professor Yang saw the action of his partner on the left, and when he received a pass from Mata, he kicked the ball forward. The high-speed sprinting Sanye received an advance pass from Ashley Young in front of the baseline, and his left foot swept the ball directly to the goal. The pass was passed high and fast, and it instantly flew over Norwich's goal and landed near the penalty area line on the right. And there, Valencia, rushing forward at high speed, just appeared where the ball fell. Valencia kicked the ball to the front of the goal again without hesitation. In front of the goal line, Mata, who passed the ball forward at high speed, reappeared on the route of the ball, gently stretched out his foot, and ended the ball. In the door of Norwich. Mata scored twice and rewritten the on-court score to 3-0. Before the game was played for half an hour, the team had a 3-goal lead at home. At this moment, Old Trafford Stadium has become a sea of joy. Throughout the season, the team played a lot of games on all fronts, but no game played so vigorously and heartily. On the podium, the members of the Glazer family who came to the scene to watch the football showed a smile on their faces and applauded the team's performance. Joel Glazer even smiled and asked Maitoku, "Ed, where did you find such a coach?" Santoku has actually been under a lot of pressure during this period. Yesu has never appeared in the European arena before. Under such circumstances, being the Manchester United head coach, even if it is only a temporary job, is quite controversial. Sandeza didn't know what evil he was in. He was moved by the Dongfang boys' personal assistant and agreed to let Yesu serve as Manchester United's interim head coach for the last few games of the season. Fortunately, Yesu is very low-key. After taking office as Manchester United's interim head coach, he did not come up with anything. This made the pressure on Santoko a little less. But the worries in his heart did not diminish, because once Yesue performed poorly in today's game, that sky of criticism would definitely follow. Yesue must be the first person to bear the brunt, and the person who signed Yesue is the second responsible person. Fortunately, after the game started, the team's performance exceeded everyone's expectations. Not only did it not perform badly, but it performed better than everyone expected. Not only did he break the deadlock early, but he took a 3-goal lead in less than 30 minutes to establish the victory. Santoko is still very confident. With Manchester United's strength and the mental state shown by the players today, the weak Norwich has no hope of a comeback. Manchester United's confidence was quickly increased again, because before the end of the first half, they scored the 4th goal of the game. In the 40th minute, Manchester United's front court attack, Phil Jones sent a 45-degree pass, which accidentally passed through the interception of several defensive players in Norwich's penalty area and appeared at the back point. And in that position, Nani appeared on the ball landing spot. Seeing that the Portuguese winger was about to control the ball and shoot, Norwich defender Vitok reluctantly stretched out his hand for Nani. Nani staggered and wanted to go forward to control the ball, but he lost his balance and fell in front of the penalty area line. The referee did not hesitate to issue a penalty kick, and the Norwich players did not protest. Vitok's foul was very obvious, and the argument was meaningless. Rooney came to take the penalty for this penalty. He easily lied to Norwich goalkeeper Rudy and kicked the ball into the goal. In fact, even if Rudy judged the penalty in the right direction, it would be difficult to make a difference, because Rooney's penalty kick was not only extremely fast, but also the angle was extremely tricky, and it was scored by wiping the goal post. Goal. Rooney was full of confidence today, and he was extremely confident in his footwork, otherwise he would not dare to punish such a tricky angle. When Rooney kicked the ball into Norwich's goal and reading www.uugonshoe.com rewritten the field score to 4-0, Old Trafford was completely crazy. 4 goals in the first half. This is a performance that Manchester United has never had this season. The fans felt so happy that they were fortunate enough to see such a beautiful game. Rooney, who scored twice, turned around and ran towards the team's bench at the first time, and pounced on Yesue, who had just rushed out of the coach's bench and came to the sidelines to celebrate the goal. Yesue couldn't sit still when Manchester United got a penalty kick. He knew that with Rooney's state today, it was impossible to miss this penalty. The team was able to take a 4-goal lead at half-time, and this situation was also not what he expected. After all, this is a football game, not a tennis game, not a basketball game. And Manchester United's opponent Norwich, although the strength is not strong, but as a relegation team, they have enough motivation to fight Manchester United desperately. The whole world knows how terrible the Premier League relegation team is. Therefore, although Yesue knows that the team can win, he also knows that he will win a big victory in the end, because in his memory, Giggs led the team to a big victory in this game. But, this is 4 goals in half-time. This is really crazy. So, Rooney, who was rushing, happened to meet Yesue, who raised his fists on the sidelines to celebrate, and immediately threw him onto the turf on the sidelines. Behind Rooney, a group of Manchester United players followed and happily played a game of overlapping arhuts on the sidelines. The Manchester United fans in the stands laughed when they saw this scene, and the whole stadium was full of joy. Yesue, this young Easterner, conquered Manchester United and the best fans in the world in only half of the game. After the game, the Manchester United players did not leave the field for the first time. Under the leadership of Captain Vidic, they routinely circled the field for a week. Thanks to the fans who came to watch the game. During this process, some media reporters also entered the stadium to interview some important players. Among them, Sky Sports reporters approached Rooney. After experiencing 3 ball shortages, Rooney broke out and scored 3 goals in the coaching first game. He currently ranks 4th after surpassing Aguero with 18 goals in the scorer list. At the same time, this is also Rooney wearing Manchester United. For the 49th time since he scored 2 goals in a single game, he has scored at least 2 goals in the last 3 Premier League matches. He has scored at least 2 goals in the Premier League this season. 18, plus 10 assists, currently directly involved in scoring 28, second only to Suarez in the league, and equivalent to Sturridge, which means that the Chubby has a direct relationship with Manchester United's 43.5% of Premier League goals this season. Relationship. Since joining Manchester United in the summer of 2004, Rooney's average goal rate has basically remained at around 0.5. The first goal he scored today was also the 13th long shot from outside the penalty area scored by the Chubby in the past 3 seasons, which is unmatched in the Premier League. While Rooney completed 8 shots in the whole game, the number of shots in the Premier League this season has exceeded the 100 mark. At present, Rooney has scored 174 goals in the Premier League, only one gap from Henry, who is ranked 3rd in the history list. With this momentum, there is still hope for surpassing this season. Faced with a question from a Sky Sports reporter, Rooney said, "We all know that this will be a tough game. Norwich will definitely work hard to relegation. Before the game, we knew that we had to score as quickly as possible. When we arrive, we will easily knock down our opponents. We have had a difficult week. There are many negative things for us. We are very injured because of this. Today we want to prove that we are better than we have shown. Of course we are all willing to take responsibility, we must continue to move forward, we must prove in the next 3 games that Manchester United is still a top team." As for the new coach Jesus, Rooney said, "He is simply a genius. I think he is the man God chose specifically for Manchester United. Can you imagine that he pulled us out of difficulties and led the team in the first game? Just achieved a 6-goal victory? Before all this happened, I would never dare to imagine, and even now, I still have a feeling like in my original dream." Rooney is not the only player blocked by Sky Sports for interviews. Another player, Mata, who performed extremely well in this game, also accepted their interview. In addition to talking about his performance in the game, Mata also talked about the new coach Jesus. The Spanish warm man said, "The appearance of Coach Jesus is completely beyond all of our expectations, but from the first time we contacted, I knew that he would succeed in the coaching industry. He knows people and makes every player feel good. All appeared in his most appropriate position, which also brought good results. This hearty victory is the best proof." At the press conference after the game, the performance of the reporters was much more normal than that of the pre-game press conference in the morning. They focus more on the game itself. Of course, this is what Manchester United achieved today. If the team struggles, or even loses, the scene facing Jesus is definitely not the case. In the face of many normal reporters, Jesus' performance is also much normal. He began to answer reporters' questions seriously, especially those related to the game. As a modern person who knows the energy of the media, Jesus is unwilling to have too stiff relations with reporters. As long as he wants to stay in the handsome position of Manchester United, he has to learn how to deal with reporters, otherwise his future will be full of thorns. The pen under the reporter's hand, that is the knife that really kills people, is even more terrifying than a real knife. Jesus gave his own person the first opportunity to ask questions. A reporter from Manchester United's official TV station first asked him what his secret to winning this game was. Jesus replied with a smile, "Find out the strengths of each player, so as to maximize their strengths and avoid weaknesses, so that everyone can appear in the right position and have a happy game mood. I think this result will not be too bad." A Sky Sports reporter immediately asked Jesus' employment principles. This question silenced Jesus for a while before replying, "My principle of employing people is ability and status, but it is precisely because of this that I feel special. Embarrassed because Manchester United has too many capable players. In order to determine today's start, I almost never rested last night. I trust everyone, so the selection is difficult. Players like Ferdinand, Vidic, and Evra have experience. I hope their experience will work. I know Manchester United players and their performance has not disappointed me. A reporter from The Times asked Jesus' coaching question. Jesus was a little unhappy, but after a moment of silence, he answered the question. He said, "This is not a problem that I need to consider now. I only think about the remaining 4 games of the season. I have consumed a lot of energy this week. I really don't have time to think about the distant future. My job now is get the players ready for the next game against Sunderland." Speaking of this, Jesus simply said, "According to the contract I signed with Manchester United, I will temporarily serve as Manchester United's head coach until the end of the season. Now I have played 1 game and there are 3 games left, yes. For myself, the remaining 3 games are things I need to care about. I will do my best to do this job well. After that, we will see what happens." Jesus was quite satisfied with his debut. He said, "I was a little nervous, but when I walked out of the player channel, the players and the entire coaching staff were warmly welcomed by the fans, and I stabilized. I am steady. I want to thank the fans because everyone had a hard time this week. I am very happy with the 6-0 result. It is a dream day for us. I'm happy with the team's performance. It always feels great to be able to end the game like today. We have been scoring and creating opportunities throughout the game. Before the game, I have been reminding the players to speed up the pace and open the game as soon as possible. They also responded very well. They are all excellent players, and they are all disappointed with themselves this season. We did not show the ability that we should have this season, but today we do arrived." As a matter of fact, the press conference has gradually gone astray at this point, but Jesus is still trying to control his emotions and let the press conference proceed normally. However, there are always some people who are not as good as others. No, when the press conference came to a close, a reporter suddenly stood up and asked, "Mr. Yet, what do you think of Liverpool's upcoming Premier League title?" This question makes Jesus very upset. As a Manchester United fan, Jesus has always disliked Liverpool, not to mention that he is now Manchester United's head coach. However, Jesus still couldn't hold back his opponent on such occasions. So Jesus chose to remain silent, and at the same time signaled the press officer to remind the media to ask the next question. However, this reporter from the Echo feels very good about himself and feels even better about Liverpool. Indeed, the situation in Liverpool now makes the fans who support it proud. Under the leadership of Marshall Rogers, they not only led the Premier League standings, but also won 11 consecutive victories in the Premier League. In the Premier League, it is very difficult to get more than 10 consecutive victories, not to mention that most of the teams that Liverpool defeated during this period were teams in the upper and middle points of the standings. Their 1-1 GAME winning streak began with a 5-1 victory over the Gunners' Arsenal at Anfield on February 8. They also defeated Tottenham, Swansea, Southampton, and Crystal Palace, who had performed well this season. Waiting for the team. Of course, the most exciting thing for Liverpool fans is that they beat their rivals Manchester United with 3 goals at Old Trafford in the 30th round of the Premier League on March 16. And on the 13th of this month, they defeated Manchester City, their biggest title rival, in a battle of Tianwangshan, and won the title. Before this wave of 11 consecutive victories, Liverpool only ranked 4th in the Premier League, behind Arsenal at the top of the list by as much as 8 points. But now they are ranked 1st in the Premier League, 3 points more than the second Manchester City, and 10 points more than the first team, Arsenal. In the minds of Liverpool people, as long as they win tomorrow's opponent Chelsea, then their first Premier League title will be won. This is not a difficult task for Liverpool this season. Anfield has always been a famous home for the Devil in Europe. This season, Liverpool's home performance can be said to be shining. 17 games have achieved 15 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. Only Vera and Southampton was lucky enough to retreat from there. After being suppressed by Manchester United for more than 2 decades, he was able to win the Premier League title in the first year of Ferguson's retirement, and he was able to catch up with the number of titles won by the 2 teams in the top league. Any Liverpool fan would be extremely excited. Seeing Yessu's ugly face, the reporter who asked the question became even more excited. Regardless of whether the press officer had ordered another reporter to ask a question, he continued, "Mr. Yessu, please answer my question." Yessu took a deep look at the guy, and then asked, "Do you really want to know what I think?" The guy nodded in excitement and said, "Of course." Yessu nodded and said, "Okay, I'll tell you what I think. Believe me, Liverpool can't be the Premier League champion this season. You can report my words verbatim in the newspaper. Come out." That evening, major British television stations and major media outlets reported on Manchester United's 60 home win over Norwich. Originally, Manchester United's victory over Norwich was not news, it was the real news that they could not win. This game has received such a high degree of attention because of Manchester United's recent poor performance. The coach Moyes has just been fired. The new team to take over is an unknown young man from the East. Before the game, the media from all walks of life were not optimistic about Yessu's coaching. Some people even questioned whether Yessu knows how to coach a football team. However, in this game, Manchester United's performance is absolutely amazing. This is also Yessu's amazing performance, which also shows Yessu's ability. The capable and strong will be respected everywhere, so in the post-match reports, the reports on Yessu in the major media have been much more positive. Of course, there is no lack of doubts. After all, Yessu just led the team to play a game, and the opponent was just a weak relegation team like Norwich. Winning is normal, but it can't really prove Yessu's ability. These people think that if Yessu wants to prove his ability, he has to lead the team to more victories, even some important victories. Of course, for now, this is impossible. On the one hand, Manchester United has only 3 games left this season, and the opponents are also some mid-lower teams. Even if Yessu leads Manchester United to win all, it can't explain anything. And once he can't stay in Manchester United's position at the end of the season, he will never have a chance. The major media have also reported on the friction between Yessu and reporters from the Liverpool Echo. Most of the reports were mentioned incidentally, as it was an episode in the press conference after the game. In the UK, there is really not too much antagonism between Manchester United and Liverpool. What's more, this is the initiative of Liverpool's supporters to find faults, and coupled with the fact that it's not a matter of their own, not many people pay attention. However, as the other party involved, the Liverpool Echo thought that Yessu was a provocation to Liverpool, so in the report after the match, they portrayed Yessu as an arrogant person, anyway. What a good thing! And Yessu's words also caused dissatisfaction with Liverpool coach Rodgers, captain Gerrard, and others. In the pre-match press conference of the 36th round of the Premier League match between Liverpool and Chelsea, Rodgers and Gerrard both criticised Yessu, thinking that he lacked respect for Liverpool. They all said that Liverpool will definitely defeat and eventually win the Premier League Championship this season, giving Yessu a lesson. Yessu watched this pre-match press conference in the suite of the Lorry Hotel. Watching Rodgers and Gerrard who swore on TV, Yessu showed a mysterious smile on his face. I also don't know. When Gerrard slipped and allowed Chelsea to score a goal to break the deadlock after the start of tomorrow's game, would they still think so? Yessu didn't pay much attention to the game, he quickly devoted his energy to the team's affairs. Manchester United's next game is on the afternoon of May 3, and there is still almost a week left, so Yessu gave the players of the Manchester United first team 2 days off to let them take a good rest at home and regain their strength. But Yessu himself has no chance to rest. He still has a lot of information to look at to understand the situation of the team. The 3 games played on April 27, Manchester United are very concerned. took the lead in the game at 12 noon local time. It was a life-and-death battle between the Black Cat Sunderland and the second-to-last Cardiff City. If the Black Cat can beat his opponent at home, he will be able to rise to the 17th place in the league, escape the relegation zone for the first time since the third round of this season, and see the dawn of relegation again. After all, they still missed one game. And if they can't win, then they are in the quagmire of relegation. I am afraid they can only play in the British Championship next season. In the end, the Black Cats showed strong fighting spirit and fighting ability. He scored 2 goals in the second half and swept Cardiff City 4-0 at the Stadium of Light. While climbing out of the relegation zone, he kicked his opponent into the position of deputy squad leader. Soon after the game ended, at 2:05 p.m. local time in the UK, Anfield Stadium attracted the attention of the world. The Reds Liverpool vs the Blues Chelsea. This is a real battle of Tianwang Mountain. At present, Liverpool ranks first in the Premier League with 25 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses, scoring 96 goals and conceding 44 goals, with 52 goal difference and 80 points. And their opponent Chelsea also have hopes of a championship. Mourinho's team currently wins, 6 draws and 6 losses, scoring 67 goals and conceding 26 goals, with 41 goals difference, and ranking second in the Premier League with 75 points. Behind them is Blue Moon Manchester City. The team led by the Chilean engineers has performed well this season. With one game short, it has 23 wins, 5 draws and 6 losses, scored 91 goals and conceded 35 goals, with 56 goals difference, and ranked third with 74 points. If Rodgers can beat the Teachers team, then Liverpool will really be one step away from the first Premier League Championship trophy in team history. The opponents Crystal Palace and Newcastle in the next 2 games will find it difficult to stop them. On the one hand, because these 2 teams are limited in strength, on the other hand, both teams are currently around 10 in the league, which can be described as wantless. Should not smash Liverpool's championship celebration. Of course, if the Magic Birds can beat their disciples, then Chelsea will be able to close the points gap with the top team. It's not that there is no hope of winning the championship with 2 points left behind in the game. Of course, this possibility is very small, especially if Chelsea are still distracted by the Champions League. In the middle of last week, Chelsea drew 0-0 away from Atletico Madrid, which is widely believed to have gained the initiative to enter the Champions League final. In this situation, coupled with the Chelsea camp full of injuries, many British media predict that Mourinho is likely to abandon the league to focus on the Champions League. Especially when Chelsea announced the starting lineup, which was almost an attacking team, almost everyone believed that Liverpool's first Premier League title was stable. Unfortunately, this is just what if. At Anfield Stadium this afternoon, Liverpool fans greeted not a long-awaited victory, but a tragic defeat. Chelsea scored goals in each stoppage time period of the first and second halves, and the Red Army in the end 0-2 defeated. This also means that Liverpool have only points left to lead Chelsea. Once Manchester City wins behind them, they will only lead the Blue Moon by 3 points. There is no doubt that with 2 rounds left in the Premier League, the suspense of the championship is revived. There should be no suspense in the championship situation, but now it has become confusing because of only one person. That is the Liverpool soul Gerrard. In the first half of stoppage time, facing the undifficult pass of Sakho, Gerrard unexpectedly failed to stop, then slipped and fell. Dembaba showed the shooter's sense of smell. After stealing the ball, he strode into the Liverpool penalty area. Gerrard chased after him. Mignoret attacked in front. The Chelsea forward calmly sent the ball in. In the net, Liverpool, who had 70% possession of the ball in the first half, fell behind 0-1. A draw is enough to allow Liverpool to continue to take the initiative in the title race. Now that they are behind at Anfield Stadium, Rodgers' team has to continue to strengthen their offence. Gerrard, who aims to make up for his achievements, made rare frequent shots. Opta data after the game showed that Liverpool's sold shot up to 9 times, which is almost the sum of Suarez and Coutinho. Only 26 times, Gerrard shot more than one-third. Unfortunately, Gerrard's shot was not too threatening. It was either over-angled or off-target. Liverpool, which had been attacking wildly, made another mistake at the last moment. Torres assisted William in stoppage time in the second half to seal the victory. Without Gerrard's fatal error, Liverpool would never have attacked the whole line, because it is absolutely acceptable for the Reds to score 1 point at Anfield, but now they face a cruel 0-2 score. Compared to the 2008-2009 season, this is Liverpool's closest approach to the top league championship in 24 years. After all, it leads the standings in the 35th round of the Premier League. Just when everyone is looking forward to the arrival of this championship, you read www.yuyuganshu.com. It was Liverpool captain Gerrard who made the mistake at the critical moment. Looking back on history, Gerrard did not help Chelsea. 2 fatal mistakes gave Chelsea 2 championships. The first was in the 2005 League Cup final. Less than 1 minute after Liverpool opened, Reece broke the deadlock. At the end of the game, Gerard Oulong helped Chelsea equalise, and the Blues finally won the cup through a 3-2 overtime reversal. It was also Mourinho's first championship trophy in charge of Chelsea, and Gerrard was in a transfer to Chelsea at the time. In the whirlpool. The second fatal mistake of Gerrard was in the 2009-2010 season. At the end of the season, Chelsea and Manchester United entered a fierce battle for the championship. At Anfield, Gerrard passed back unguarded, and Drogba took advantage of the situation. The ball was sent to the gate guarded by Reina. That game was similar to today's. Liverpool lost 0-2 at home. This game is the third major mistake that Gerrard has made on the Chelsea team in his career. Will he send the Chelsea championship again? Of course, it's too early to say that. The only thing that can be confirmed now is that Chelsea have the capital to compete for the championship, and Manchester City have regained the initiative to compete for the championship. Gerrard is very likely because of this fatal mistake, and the entire professional player career will not be able to win the Premier League championship. Soon after Liverpool lost to Chelsea, the next game will be played at Liverpool's Crystal Palace, losing to Manchester City at home 0-2. At this time, people couldn't help but remember what the new interim manager of Manchester United, the young Oriental, said a day ago: "Please believe me, Liverpool cannot be the Premier League champion this season. You can put my words in the newspapers." A word-of-mouth report comes out. Is this just a coincidence or a mysterious curse?